Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar here on Saturday. It is November the 4th, 2017. I'm going to look at all of the Breeders' Cup Championship races here on this Saturday afternoon from Del Mar, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also, if you want the first three races from Del Mar, which are just plain stakes races, you have to go follow me on my Twitter page for that, so go check that out. But for this video, it's all Breeders' Cup. The Saturday program, it's going to be an excellent Breeders' Cup this year, I think. And let's get on to it because we have quite a few races to look at. So I'm going to look at races 4 through 12. The fourth race, the first Breeders' Cup race of the Saturday afternoon. It's the 34th running of the 14 Hands Winery Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Grade 1 purse $2 million. It's for fillies 2-year-olds. Field of 13 horses. Lucky 13 horses going the distance of ground here of 1,700 meters or a mile and 1/16 on the main track. Main dirt course. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down at my notes. And also for these videos, with a lot of international viewers watching this, a lot of people don't know the circumference and the quirks about Del Mar, so it really helps them a lot. So that's why I show it too, especially during these videos. But my top pick in this race, I like the number 7 horse Moonshine Memories. I'm gonna go 7-13-1-9 in the superfecta. 7-13-1-9 superfecta. To the multi-race, maybe I'll play a pick 3 here. For the multi-race wagers, I'll definitely use my top pick, the 7 horse Moonshine Memories. It would be stupid if I didn't. I'm going to use the 7 horse. I'm going to use the 13 horse Separation of Powers also. I think she can upset here maybe also, but she has a tough order to get from that wide post draw. But I'm definitely going to use my top 2 here. So, but 7-13-1-9 super, that's my top 4. My top pick number 7, Moonshine Memories, 7-2. Flavian Pratt is on this Juvenile Filly by Malibu Moon. Simon Callahan trains this one. Most recently, his horse ran the 30th of September at Santa Anita Park in Arcadia, California. 1,700 meters or a mile and 16th in the Grade 1 Chandelier. This horse won by 2 3/4 lengths. Had a good post draw from the 3-hole. Sat back early, got the lead at the stretch, and took off clear. But to keep in mind, this horse drifted a tiny bit. There was nobody really near her, but she did drift a little bit. Keep that in mind. Hopefully, since the race, they've worked on the drifting, so she doesn't do it. And if she doesn't do it here today, I think she'll run a big one. She gets a little bit of wide poster. It's not as wide as the 13 horse, but I still think it's going to be. He's going to have to save some ground, Flavian, with this horse. But start 4 came locally here at Del Mar. September the 2nd, 7 furlongs in the Group 1 Del Mar debutante. Horse won by half length, was almost on the lead all throughout, had a very easy victory that day, an all-around great race. And then at Del Mar, 6 furlongs, August 19th, main special weight for 61,000. Horse won by length, again was on lead all throughout. This horse has I like the running style for this horse. She could sit back early if she wants to, or she could set the pace. In this race, we're going to see quite a bit of pace, I think, from her inside with from the 4-horse Geo game. I think she'll be the pacemaker, maybe with the 5-horse Blonde Bomber. With those pace setters on the inside of her, I think she could sit 3rd or 4th, and I think that would be a good post position, and going around the far turn, this horse could slowly move forward. I like her here today. She's been training well coming into this race. Watch out for her to run a big one. My second choice here, the 13-horse Separation of Powers, 4-1. Jose Ortiz is on this Juvenile Filly by Candy Ride. Chad Brown trains this one. She has a horrible post drive. She had a better post draw. I would be a lot more confident with her. She ran here in New York a few weeks ago in the Frizette. She won by 3 1/4 lengths. It wasn't the best of fields, but she destroyed the field very easily driving. Before that, at Saratoga in the spin away going 7/8, this horse finished 3rd by 4 lengths. She actually tried setting the pace early on, actually dueled a little bit early, but really weakened out of it. Lady Ivanka just had a little bit of a better race. This horse just can keep up with them. And then Saratoga, 6 furlongs in main special weight for first career outing. This horse won by 11 3/4 lengths. Set the pace easy. She showed last time out that she doesn't have to set the pace. She could sit back early. She's going to have to leave today from this 13 hole. She cannot sit back because she's going to lose. She's just going to be way too far behind to close on the main track. But today, if she most likely she's going to leave from the outside, and if she could just sit 3rd or 4th, I personally would like to see this horse sit 4th behind my other horse, Moonshine Memories. If she sits there, she could also maybe upset here from the outside, but she has a very big task of saving ground here today. It's going to be Jose Ortiz's biggest challenge on today's card with this horse. But if she does everything right, I think she has a strong chance of winning. So to recap my bets for the 4th, from Del Mar. It's the 34th running of the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Going to go with the number 7 horse, Moonshine Memories. Going to go 7-13-1-9 in the superfecta. In a multi-race pick 3 wager, I'm going to use the 7 and the 13. So now let's get on to race number 5 from Del Mar. The 5th race is the 10th running of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Grade 1 purse $1 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 14 horses, but only 12 could go this year in the turf sprint at the distance of ground here of 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs on the newly renovated Del Mar Jimmy Durante turf course. Or Jimmy Doreen turf course. 5 furlongs, 1,000 meters. And another race, you have some very nice horses. These races this year have been coming up very strong, the Breeders' Cup races. My top pick in this one, I like the 6 horse Marcia. She should absolutely love Del Mar. She's going to see a very quick pace in front of her. She's going to see firm ground. This race is made for her. I'm going to go 6-1-5-3 in the superfecta. 6-1-5-3 super. To the multi-race now, I'm going to definitely use the 6 horse Marcia, top pick. I'll use the 1 horse Disco Partner, and I'm going to use Washington DC at a price. I think he'll run a very big one also. He loves firm ground. He's finally getting it again today. But 6-1-5 in the multi-race for me. I'm not going to use Lady Aurelia. I have a feeling the closers are going to get to her, and Wesley Ward also didn't sound that very confident in the interviews this week in my eyes. But 6-1-5-3 is my top 4 or my superfecta. My top pick, number 6, Marcia, 7-2. Sir Mark Prescott trains this 4-year-old filly by acclamation, carrying 123 pounds here today, which is a great weight. 10 less pounds than she carried in France a few weeks ago. It's a great weight. Luke Morris is on this one. Most recently, though, October the 1st at Chantilly in France, about 5 furlongs or 1,000 meters in the Prix de l'Abbaye de Longchamp. This horse finished second by 4 lengths that day, was the favorite and closed up a tiny bit, but the winner of Batash just ran a little bit better. This horse was second best, but with firmer ground here today, I think he'll run a very big one. Start before came at York at the Ebor meeting, August the 25th, 5 furlongs in the Coolmore Nunthrope. Horse won by a nose that day. Again, was carrying a high weight of 134 pounds. It didn't affect this horse. She let Lady Aurelia go in front of her. Frankie Dettori set this horse to just let Lady Aurelia run that day. But this horse just waited, and and then Luke Morris pressed the button. She closed up well, and just got up there. Great race for this horse that day on dry ground. And then at Goodwood, 5 furlong soft ground in the King George. She's not a soft ground lover. She finished third by 3 lengths that day, and it just wasn't her day to win. Lost to Batash again, by the way. And then before that, in the Sapphire Stakes in Ireland at Curra, she finished second by a nose. She just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run. Like I said, she loves firm ground. I cannot stress that enough. You're going to see a lot of pace in this race to get this horse a good closing kick, and I think she could win this one very easily. So she'll be my top pick. The horses I'll be using on my multi-race wager. The 1 horse Disco Partner at 9-2 for Christophe Clement. Christophe Clement doesn't have a very good Breeders' Cup record. I believe he's never won a Breeders' Cup race, but might be his best chance of the weekend. Disco Partner. He's a closer too, and he's going to see he's like Marcia. He's going to see firm ground. He's going to see a fast pace to get a good closing kick with, and I think he can win. But most recently, the 7th of October at Belmont Park, 6 furlongs inner turf course in the Belmont Turf Sprint. Horse won by 1 1/4 lengths. He sat back early and closed up well at the end. 35 cents a dollar. He was the horse to beat, and he ran very easy. An all-around great race. Before that, Saratoga yielding ground 1 mile in the 4-star Dave. Didn't get a good piece of the ground at all. There was a torrential downpour about an hour before the race, and this horse just finished 4th by 8 3/4 lengths. He just did not show up. Throw that race out, and then the Forbidden Nap up Belmont 1 mile, July 15th. Horse won by 3 1/4 lengths. He sat a little bit closer than usual that day, but again, he closed up well, easy race, and then he won the Jaipur in world record fashion, closing up well. He's a closer. He has a lot of pace to come off of to close with. I think this horse will run a big one, so watch out for him. And also at a price, Washington, D.C., the 5 horse, I think could maybe upset another closer in this race. 20-1, Ryan Moore for Ian O'Brien for the Coolmore Group. Most recently, though, 21st of October at Ascot, 6 furlongs in the champion sprint. Horse finished 7th by 5.5 lengths. He just really didn't get a good piece of the ground. It was very wet that day, to the point of they almost had to cancel or abandoned the race card because it was just too wet. And he's another horse. Firm ground is his liking. He just did not show up. And also, he's a 5 furlong specialist in my eyes. Before that, in the Nunthorpe at York, he finished 10th by 10 quarter lengths. You know, didn't have the best of starts, and he got screwed by the start. He was all out of it after that. You know, high weight also had something maybe to do with it. Carrying 126 pounds today is a great weight. His last win came in the Phoenix Stakes at Curra in early August. He won by half length. He quickened up nicely and had a very easy victory. Is only 2 winners for him this year. The other one came at Navan in late April, going 5 furlongs. He won by a neck in the Woodland Stakes, an all-around great race. But since then, he finished second at Newmarket in the Palace House Stakes. He finished way off the board at Royal Ascot. But those were some very tough races. Here, he has a good post draw. I think he's a little bit better coming to this race this year than he was last year. I think he'll run a big one. So watch out for him. So to recap my bets for the 5th from Del Mar, it's the 10th running of the Grade 1 $1 Million Breeze Cup Turf Sprint. I'm going to go with the number 6 horse, Marcia. I'm going to go 6-1-5-3 in the superfecta, and my multi-race pick 4 wager begins with this race, by the way. I'm going to use the 6, 1, and 5, so I'll go 3 deep this race. 6, 1, and 5 in the multi-race wager. So now let's get on to race number 6. Race number 6 from Del Mar here on the Saturday afternoon. It's the 11th running of the Breeders' Cup Fillies Mare Sprint. Grade 1 race going for a purse of $1 million. It's for fillies mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 14 fillies and mares going the distance of ground here of 1,400 meters, or the 7 furlong distance on the main dirt course here at Del Mar. 1,400 meters, 7 furlongs. My top pick in this one, I love the one horse, Karina Mia. I think she's going under the radar, and I think she'll run a very big one here today. I'm going to go 1-11-8-4 in the superfecta, 1-11-8-4 super. I'll go 1-11 in my multi-race pick 4 and pick 3 wager. But my top pick, number 1, Karina Mia, 12-1. Javier Castellano is on this Chad Brown train, 4-year-old filly by Malibu Moon. Most recently, this horse had a start here in New York, 24th of September at Belmont, 6.5 furlongs in the Grade 2 Gallon Bloom handicap. She finished second by a nose. She sat back early, got to lead in the stretch after a wide going around the turn, and she had the lead in the stretch, but then she kind of got lackadaisical or something like that. She kind of, she stopped a little bit, and she lost the race by a neck. The closer Highway Star got to this horse. Since then, she's been training well. If she could just stay a little bit and not be so crazy in the stretch, I think she could win. Start before at Saratoga, 7 furlongs on the 26th of August in the Grade 1 Ballerina. This horse finished third by a length that day. She broke on top that day and then went back early and then closed up at the end. She just has to save some ground. She was a little bit wide that day. If she doesn't save ground from the one hole today, Javier Castellano should just never ride a horse again. But she has to save ground today. And then the shine again at Saratoga, 7 furlongs August 2nd. This horse won by a neck. She was 55 cents to the dollar favorite. She should have won, and she won that day for fun. A very easy race for this horse. Before that, ran in the Ogden Phipps at Belmont. She finished 4th. Mile 16th might have been a little bit too long for this horse that day. And then the Humana Distaff at Churchill, 7 furlongs, May the 6th. She finished third by a length that day, breaking just on top that day, and she just stalked that day. She closed up well for third, but it was probably on a surface which was sloppy. She really didn't enjoy. I think with the drier track, she does a lot better. She ran this race last year as the 3-1 favorite. She was destroyed by the start. She broke up at the start. It was off slow, and her race was over there. She finished 9th by 6.5 lengths. It just wasn't her day to win. I think today, with a better post draw, breaking on top, I think with the stalking kind of position she can have, I think she can run a very big one. So that's why I like her here today. At this distance, she's 6-2, winning once at Saratoga and once in the as a 2-year-old in the 8 bells, or excuse me, as a 3-year-old in the 8 bells last year. She should do well. Like I said, she has a stalking position, which I really like. At 12-1, you cannot throw this horse at off your ticket. She's going to be a serious contender in this race, so she'll be my top pick. And also, I'm going to use the 11 horse Unique Bella, but she scares me a little bit. At 9-5, Mike Smith. She's facing the biggest challenge of her life. She faced against nobody. The 3-year-old, the fillies in California lately, the 3-year-old fillies have been, they've been running so good the last 10 years or so, but they're not really, in years past, like the last 2 years, they're facing nobodies. Like Songbird faced nobodies in California last year. This horse has been facing nobody, so she's going to be facing a very tough challenge this year. Most recently, this horse ran off the lap 6.5 furlongs in the LA Woman, a very light field. She won by 3.25 lengths. She should have won. She was 20 cents to the dollar, and she won for fun. But she sat back. She actually broke horribly that day, broke last, but recovered, got the lead at the quarter pole, and then took off clear. Very nice victory. But before that, in the San Jezebel, she won by 2.25 lengths. She broke on top, on the lead all throughout. Very easy victory. And then in the Las Verges at Santa Anita in February, she won by 8.75 lengths. Another very easy field of 4. She's breaking from wide post draw. That scares me. But if she could come over well and sit close, I think she can win. But she has a lot of. This is going to be the biggest test of her career. I'll use her here as insurance, as they say. So to recap my bets for the 6th from Del Mar, it's the 11th running of the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. Gonna go with the number 1 horse here, Karina Mia. I'm gonna go 1:11.84 in the superfecta. 1:11.84 superfecta. So now let's get on to race number 7 from Del Mar. The 7th race, it's the 19th running of the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf, Grade 1, purse $2 million. It's for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 16 horses, but only 14 can go. This new distance of ground here of 1,800 meters, or 1.1 on the Del Mar turf course. On the Jimmy Durante turf course, or Jimmy Doreen turf course. 1.1, 1,800 meters. And since this race was invented in 1999 at Gulfstream, it's been always run at either 1.3 or 1.25 other than 1 year, a few years ago at Keeneland, where it was run at 1.3 This year they shortened it up to 1.1. I don't know why, because they can run the 1.3 here on this turf course. It makes this race a kind of a little trickier by handicapping it, but I think I found a horse that I think could really run a big one, especially at her odds. That's going to be the 2 horse Sanga. I'm going to go 2-9, 7-12 in the superfecta. 2-9-7-12 super. My top 4. In the multi-race wager, I'm going to use the 2 horse Sanga. I'm going to use the 9 horse Lady Eli, and that's about it. I'll go 2 deep this race, but my top pick at 20-1, number 2 Sanga. 20-1, Stefan Pasquire is on this 3-year-old filly by Blame. Pascal Bowery trains this one, getting first-time Lasix, but this horse loves firm ground and loves this distance of ground of 1.1 to 1.25. She hasn't been getting it lately, but the stars aligned for her today with a good post draw. But most recently in France, October the 1st, Ashanti, soft ground 1.25 in the Group 1 Prix de l'Opera. This horse finished 11th by 10.5 lengths. A very wet very wet course that day. Bad post draw. She just did not do anything that day. It just wasn't her day to win. Again, start 4 at Deauville in August, 1.25 and the Prix de la Noete Stakes. Horse finished 3rd by 1.75 lengths. Again, she just did not quicken up with the rest of them. Throw that race out, but probably her best race lifetime came in the Prix de Dayan at Chantilly, 1.5/16 on June 18th, basically the French Oaks. This horse won by a length that day, and a field of 16 horses carrying good weight. She sat off the pace in the mid-pack that day. She quickened up nicely and had an all-around great race. That was the last time this horse ran the mile quarter distance to 1.1. The distance today is perfect for this horse. The ground is perfect. Everything, goes towards this horse to running a big one. Before that, she wanted that 1.25 distance. Before, she was crying out for it before Ashanti in the pre-day Sangraham. She finished 3rd by 1.25 lengths, closing up like an fresh train at the end. Just didn't have enough ground to get there, but it wasn't a half bad run. And then the French 1,000 Guineas, she finished 11th by 9 lengths. that was on very soft ground. Again, she just couldn't catch the winners. But before that, in just a basic Group 3 at Shunti, she won by a length on firm ground, going mile very easily. And then the Prix Marcel de Boussac last year, she finished fourth by 1 3/4 lengths, and she was closing up well, just missed, but she was like an express train. She's going to be one of these express train horses at the end today, and at 20-1, she's a horse you must use on your multi-race wager, so watch out for her. So to recap my bets for the 7th from Del Mar, it's the 19th running of the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. I'm going to go with the number 2 horse, Senga. I'm going to go 2-9, 7-12 in the superfecta. I'll go 2-9 in my multi-race pick 4 wager. So now let's get on to race number 8 from Del Mar. The 8th race, it's the 34th running of the Breeders' Cup Sprint Grade 1 purse, $1.5 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses going the distance of ground of 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the Del Mar dirt course. 6 furlongs, 1,200 meters. My top pick in this race, I like the number 2 horse, Stay Frong. He won this race last year very nicely. Off the layoff, everything points to this horse running a big one. I'm going to go 2-7-5-6 in the superfecta. 2-7-5-6 super. That's my top 4 basically, but I'm going to single the Franga in the multi-race wager to keep the pick 4 cheap, because I'm going to go very heavy deep in, well, not very heavy deep in the next one, but I want to save my money for the late pick 4 basically. But 2-7-5-6 in the superfecta, top 4, top pick and single in the multi-race, number 2 De Frong. 5-2 Mike Smith for Bob Baffert. This 4-year-old colt by Gio Ponte, who nearly won the 2009 Breeders' Cup Classic on the pro ride at Santa Anita, but Zenyatta just came in front of that horse and won very easily. Had a lot of money on Gio Ponte that day, but the Frong, Gio Ponte has produced some very nice sprinters since he's went to stud, and this is one of them. Most recently on this 26th of August at Saratoga, 7 furlongs in the Forgo on a race course this horse loves to run on. Wide post draw. In fact, this horse that day, he won by 4 lengths on lead all throughout. Had a very easy race. It doesn't get any easier than that. But start before here at Del Mar, 6 furlongs, July 29th in the Bing Crosby. First start since last year's Breeders' Cup. This horse didn't finish. Ducked in at the gap at the going out of the 6 furlong chute and lost Mike Smith. All the chances were, disqualified that day. It just wasn't, it was just not his day to win, and he kind of messed up the race for the other horses with the loose horse running. And if you watch the race for him after he had lost Mike Smith, he ran a hell of a race. So I think he most likely was going to win that day, but he lost Mike Smith. You have to have you have to have the rider on. So he's carrying 123 pounds less that day, or so, or 100 pounds less, whatever Michael Smith weighs. But before that, in his career race in the British Cup Sprint last year, this horse won by 1/4 lengths. Martin Garcia rode this horse that day. He broke second that day and then dueled most of the race, but drove off at the end. Great race, an all-around great victory. And then in the King's Bishop at Saratoga last year, this horse won by 3 1/4 lengths. Another wide post draw, horse on lead all throughout, had a very easy victory. He's 2 for 1 at Del Mar. We all know that one loss in the Bing Crosby a few months ago, but he broke his mane here as a 2-year-old very nicely. I just think he'll run a very big one. Good post draw. Watch out for him here today. Single in the multi-race for me. So to recap my bets for the 8th from Del Mar, it's the 34th running of the Grade 1, $1.5 million Breeders' Cup Sprint. I'm going to go with the 2 horse Dre Frong. I'm going to go 2-7-5-6 in the superfecta, and like I said, single the 2 horse in my multi-race pick 4 wager. So now let's get on to race number 9. Race number 9 here on this Saturday afternoon from Del Mar. It is the 34th running of the Breeders' Cup Mile. Grade 1 race, purse $2 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 14 horses going the distance of ground here of 1,600 meters or a mile distance on the Del Mar lawn. 1 mile, 1,600 meters. My top pick in this race, I like the number The number 6 horse here, if I ever get my iPad to load, number 6, Zelzal, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to go 6'10", 14-7 in the superfecta. 6'10", 14-7 in the super. My top pick, number 6, Zelzel, will be used on a pick 4 ticket, along with the number 10 horse, who is Ribchester, and I'm going to use the number 14 horse, Carrar, also on my pick 4 ticket. So I'm going to use all 3 Euros in this race. I'm going to use my top 3 basically as all European horses, but my top pick here at 21, who I have great expectations for, the number 6, the 6 horse Zelzil, 20-1. Gregory Bonsois on this Jean Claude Roux, trained 4-year-old colt by See the Stars, getting Lasix for the first time. You know, this horse will love the Del Mar turf course. Has a good post draw. He's going to see a lot of speed in this race. You know, it's the perfect race for him. Most recently, though, the 1st of October at Chantilly, soft ground, 7 rungs on the Prix de la Forêt. This horse finished 6 by 1 3/4 lengths. Was way out of it. This horse does not like soft ground. He just didn't quicken up. Throw that race out. Before that, Glorious Goodwood, the 2nd of August, another race where you probably have to throw out also. Soft ground, 1 mile in the Sussex. Horse finished 4th by 2.5 lengths. High weight also, way out of it. He just couldn't, he does not like soft ground. But the last time this horse had a firm ground came by Chantilly in France, the 18th of June, 1 mile, 1,600 meters in the Prix Bernard de Breuil Stakes. Just a basic Group 3 stakes race. Horse finished 2nd by 1 3/4 lengths. You know, closed up well. Just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run. And then Chantilly, off the layout before at Chantilly in the Prix des Moulins de Longchamp, September the 11th of 2016. This horse finished 3rd by 2.5 lengths behind Vadamos. You know, closed up well at the end. You know, it wasn't his best start in the world, but it was an okay start. You know, he closed up well. And then a Chantilly in the Prix Jean Prat on July of 2016. This horse won by 2 lengths, closed up well, destroyed the field that day. And then the Prix Paul de Boussac at Chantilly in June of 2016. Horse won by 2.5 lengths. Another race, this horse destroyed the field. He likes firm ground. He only got it once this year. The one race he did get the firm ground, he quickened up very nicely. I just think here today with good post draw, first time Lasix, I just think he'll win a very big one. 20-1. He'll be getting a lot of money for me with this race. He's my second best bet of the day, basically, behind the horse I'm giving you in the Classic, who I also think will run a very big one. So I have high hopes for this horse. So he'll be my top pick here. And I also like in my multi-race pick 4 wager, I'm also going to use the number 10 horse, Ribchester, 7-2, William Buick for Richard Fahey, who trains this 4-year-old colt. This is going to be his final outing. After this, they're going to bring him to retirement. But most recently ran a few weeks ago at Royal Ascot during Champions Day in the QE2. This horse finished 2nd by length. Closed up well, just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run. You know, he's a little bit of he won't set the pace, but he'll sit just off the pace. He's gonna have to leave from the outside today. He's not gonna, he cannot go wide to that turn, so he's gonna have to, William Buick's gonna have to leave with him, not set the pace, but he's gonna have to sit 5th or 6th. Mid pack would be perfect for him here today, not be 14th going down the backstretch, because that's not gonna be his best running style, I don't think. But before that in France, this horse ran at Chantilly, soft ground, the Prix des Moulins de Longchamp. Horse won by 3/4 length. Again, set off the pace early on, quickened up nicely. Had a very easy victory with Doyle up that day, replacing the injured William Buick. And then before that in the Sussex on soft ground at Goodwood, he finished 2nd by a neck, was the 60 cents to $1 favorite. He set the pace and then got caught right before the wire. Disappointing beat, but you know, that was the running style that day they chose. But before that, won the Queen Anne very nicely on very dry ground. It's almost similar ground you're going to see today at Royal Ascot, and then won the Lock-In at Newbury on very wet ground, and not the ground you're going to see today. You know, he destroyed the field. You know, he likes dry ground. He's going to get it today. He's going to have to overcome a wide post draw, which I think he can do. At 7-2, I think he can run a big one also. And also the number 14 horse, Carrar for Al Shakab. Frankie Dettori's on this one. You know, this horse is coming out of the Prix de la Forêt at Chantilly a few weeks ago on Art Day, going 7 furlongs. He finished 3rd by 3/4 length, and he's he goes to the front of the pack. He's probably going to lead from the outside, I would guess, because like I said, he's a front runner. And he set the pace that day. He quickened up nicely, just missing, but it wasn't a half third place finish. Before then, the Prix du Pin in early September at Chantilly, he won by 1.5 lengths, destroying the field that day. And then the Prix de Hofgeiler at Clairefontaine in August. This horse finished second by a neck. Closed up well, just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run. He ran here in America once already. That came last year in the British Cup Turf Sprint down the hill at Santa Anita. He finished 14th by 16 lengths. He didn't finish anybody home, but I think that was the wrong race for this horse. The mile distance is a lot better, and he just did not go around the race course very well, and he didn't have the best of starts either. He's gonna with Frankie Dettori up today, which I think not to knock Gregory Bonsoir, who's on my other horse. I just think Frankie is going to take this horse. He's a better front runner style jockey. He's going to take this horse to the front, hopefully save some ground, even though I doubt he can. But take this horse to the front, and I think he could quicken up at the end to get the victory. 20-1 or 15-1. He's a great price also. Like I said, I'm going to use 3 horses this race, maybe to catch something on my pick 4 tickets. So to recap my bets for the 9th race from Del Mar, it's the 34th running of the Grade 1 British Cup Mile. My top pick here is going to go to the 6th horse, Zell Zal. I'm going to go 6-10. 14-7 in the superfecta, 6-10, 14-7 in the superfecta, 6-10, 14 in my multi-race pick 4 wager. And just to keep in mind, I forgot to mention this during the video, it's a little side note, the French based horses in this race have an incredible record, so just keep that in mind with Zelzel and the 14 horse Carrar. So let's get on to race number 10 now from Del Mar. The 10th race, it's the featured for the 2-year-olds. It's the 34th running of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The road to the Kentucky Derby begins here. Grade 1 race purse, $2 million. It's for Colton Gelding's 2-year-olds. Field of 12 horses going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters or 1 mile and 1/16 on the Del Mar main track. This race is very wide open. I have 5 horses written down that I think any one of the 5 can win. This is the race. This is the most wide open race of the afternoon, I think. My top pick in this one, I'm going to use the 2-horse Solo Mani. I'm going to go 2-5-3-11 in the superfecta. I'm going to use all 4 of those horses, including the 1-horse U.S. Navy flag in a multi-race pick 4 wager, because it's just a very difficult race. So 2-5-3-11 superfecta, 2-5-3-11-1 in the multi-race. Top pick number 2, Solomani, 6-1. Flavian Pratt for Bob Bafford, trains his Truro Colt by Curlin. Good post draw, but most recently this horse had a start on the 30th of September, mile 16th in the Grade 1 front runner. Horse finished second by 7 3/4 lengths. Sat back early, closed up well behind the Bolt d'Or, who just ran an incredible race on the front end. He was just second best that day after a little bit of a okay trip, but today, from a better post draw than Bolt d'Or is going to get, I think he could sit a little bit closer, and I think with his stalking position, I think he could go away with it at 6-1. I like his price, but his first career outing a month earlier versus September 2nd at Del Mar, 6.5 furlongs main special weight for 61,000. Horse won by 3 1/4 lengths or 1 3/4 lengths. He sat back early, a little wide into the lane, but he got the lead, but lugged in a little bit. But he won. It was an all-around great race, but he gets a good post draw today for the first time ever from the 2-hole. He should run a very big one at 6-1. I'll take my chances with him. Also, I like in this race, with many other horses, the 5-horse Free Drop Billy, 5-1 Robbie Alvarado. He's a kind of closer in this race. He ran well in the Breeders' Futurity a few weeks ago at Keeneland. He won by 4 lengths, sat back early mid-pack. He didn't have the best of trips early either, but got the lead at the quarter pole and then took off clear with a short stretch. He had a great run. Before that, Saratoga, 7 furlongs and Hopeful. He finished second by a neck. He broke on top, but then went to the back of the pack early. Closed up well at the end, just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run, and finished second in the Stanford at Saratoga also. Closed up well. If there's a way with a pace meltdown, I think he can get out 5-1, so he'll be used on my ticket with many other horses. So to recap my bets for the 10th from Del Mar, it's the 34th running at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I'm going to go with the 2-horse Solomani. I'm going to go 2-5 311 in the superfecta. I'm going to go 2, 5, 3, 11, 1 in my multi-race pick 4 wager. So now let's get on to race number 11 from Race number 11 here from Del Mar. It's the 34th running of the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. Purse $4 million. It's a grade 1 race here for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 14 horses going the distance of ground of 2,400 meters or 1 mile and 1/2 on the Jimmy DeReen turf course. 1.5 miles, 2,400 meters. This distance is pretty new that they've been running here at Del Mar. Before the 2014 turf renovation, the longest distance they ran on turf was the 2,200 meter trip, or the 1.3 mile distance. Since they renovated the course, they started adding the 1.5 mile turf races, mainly for the Hollywood Turf Cup also, which is coming up in about 4 weeks' time. And you know, it's a great distance to run on this turf course. I think you're going to see closers do well in this race. My top pick in this one, though, I like the 3-horse Highland Reel. I think he's not a closer, but he's going to sit mid-pack. You know, in Europe he's a pace setter, but here he's going to be a mid-pack horse. He's not going to run like he did last year, setting the pace to a very good run. But you know, he'll have a good run still, but he's not going to set the pace. But I'm going to go 310. 5-14 in the superfecta. 310, 5-14 superfecta. My top pick, number 3 Highland Reel, will be used on a pick 4 ticket, and I'll also use the number 10 horse here, who is Fanciful Angel, on a pick 4 ticket. But my top pick, number 3 Highland Reel, 5-year-old horse by Galileo, earner of $8.8 million. If he gets the win here today, I believe he will get over $2 million, $10 million in earning. Ryan Moore gets the leg up for this one. Most recently, his horse has started the 21st of October, 2 weeks ago at Ascot, 1.25 miles, and the Grade 1 Champion Stakes. Horse finished third by 7.25 lengths behind Cracksman. This horse, you know, the inside was very, very wet. They took this horse to the outside, which I think was the right right decision. He closed up well at the end, even though he's not a lover of wet grounds. He had a decent third place finish. You know, first start off the layoff, it was a decent race. I think second start off the layoff with a good post draw here today, firm ground. I just think he'll run a very big one. Start before at Ascot, July 29th. Good to soft ground, 1.5 miles than King George. This horse finished 4th by 9.25 lengths. Does not like wet ground at all. Enable won that day, the incredible filly with low weight. You know, props up to her. She ran a great race. This horse just did not show up that day. And then June 21st, Royal Ascot, 1.25 miles in the Prince of Wales. Horse won by 1.25 lengths. It was a very, very firm grounds. You know, he quickened up nicely and just had a very easy victory on the front end. And then 2 weeks earlier in the Coronation at Epsom, 1.5 miles, horse won by 1.75 lengths. Course had a little bit of moisture in it, but again, it's a front runner's course, and he just quickened up nicely off the layoff. You know, he ran in this race last year, and Shamie Hefferman rode this horse that day, and Shamie Hefferman probably rode the best race I've ever seen in my lifetime. He saw that the turf course was playing to early speed to speed horses that day, and going around, he took this horse straight to the lead, set easy fractions, but when he was 5 furlongs from home, he just quarter horse this horse. He put on the he put the go button and just opened up by a lot, and that's what won the race. He won by 1.75 lengths, and Flincher couldn't catch him. He had a very good speed trip that day, saved ground, an all-around great race, even from a wide post draw. It was the best ride I've ever seen a jockey give a horse in the British Cup race, probably ever. You know, it was a very smart drive. But after that, he ran in Hong Kong at Shatin in the Hong Kong Vase. He finished second by a head. He just missed, but it wasn't a half bad run. He ran his heart out for an end-of-the-year campaign, a very tough end-of-the-year campaign. Like I said, he likes the firm ground. He's running second off the layoff. I just think he'll run a very big one here today at 5-1, so he'll be my top pick. I'm also going to use on my pick 4 ticket the 10-horse Fanciful Angel, 12-1. Irad Ortiz Jr. for Chad Brown. This 5-year-old gelding by Dark Angel. Most recently, first started under the care of Chad Brown here in New York at Belmont, mile and a half in the Turf Classic Invitational. His horse finished second by 5 lengths. Sat back early, was a little bit wide around the turns, but closed up well at the end behind Peach Patrol. Wasn't a half bad run. Peach Patrol is probably going to set the pace early on, and but I think he's going to get caught here today by one of these two horses, by either Fanciful Feast or Fanciful Angel or Highland Reel. But this horse had a decent second place finish that day. And then before that, New Arlington Million in Chicago, a mile and a quarter at Arlington Park on the 12th of August. Horse finished second by half length. He closed up well behind Peach Patrol at 73-1. It wasn't a half bad run, all around great race. Before that, facing just basic listed stakes horses in the UK, he finished sixth in the Abent Gala Stakes at Sandown. Okay, that was a tough race. He just didn't break that well and was a little bit wide. But before that, in a Chelmsford list stakes, he won by head at Newbury, but before that in the list stakes he finished 11th. But he likes the mile and a half distance. He's going to get it today with Lasix. Something's worked with him with the Lasix. I think here at 12:20 he can maybe upset, so watch out for this horse closing up at the end. So to recap my bets for the 11th from Del Mar, it's the 34th running of the Breeders' Cup Turf. I'm going to go with the 3-horse Highland Reel as a top pick. I'm going to go 310 in the pick 4 wager, multi-race wager. I'm going to go 310, 5, 14 in the superfecta, 310, 5, 14 in my super. So now let's get on to the featured 12th race, the race that everybody's been looking forward to. The 12th race is the 34th running of the Breeders' Cup Classic, Grade 1 race purse, $6 million. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Fields of 11 horses going the distance of round of 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the Del Mar dirt course. Mile and a quarter, 2,000 meters. My top pick in this one and my best bet of the Breeders' Cup this year, I'm going to go to the number 8 horse, West Coast. I'm going to go my top 5, my super high 5 for this race is going to go 8-1, 7-5-2, 8-1, 7-5-2. Top pick number 8, West Coast, 6-1. Javier Castellanos on this real Colt by Flatter. Bob Baffert trains this one. Bob Baffert has quite a few horses in this race, and he's won this race the last 3 years. I think he's going to make it 4 in a row, but not with Arrogate. I think he's going to make it 4 in a row with this one, West Coast. This 3-year-old Colt carrying 122 pounds. Most recently ran in the East Coast at Parks Racing, a mile and 1/8 in the Pennsylvania Derby. Horse won by 7 1/4 lengths. He sat back early. It kind of dueled a little bit early, but took off clear at the end. It was an all-around great race at the end. Destroyed the field. Before that, Saratoga mile and a quarter in the Travers. He won by 3 1/4 lengths. Again on the lead all throughout. Just had a very easy victory. Not as easy as Arrogate the year before, but it was very easy. And then the Los Al Derby at Los Alamitos, mile and 1/8 on July the 15th. Horse won by 2 3/4 lengths. Not getting the usual rider of Mike Smith that day. Got Drain Van Dyke, who rode a great race, not sending this horse to the lead. He sat back early, about mid-pack, but then took off clear on the stretch with that long stretch of about 440 yards, and he just quickened up nicely. Before that, came to New York to win the Easy Goer, won an optional claimer at Belmont very nicely, and finished second to Lexington, closing up well. He's a very versatile horse. He could set the pace, he could come from behind. You won't see him set the pace today, but you'll probably see him sit, just off. He'll track the leaders, like they say. I think with that running style, he can run a very big one. 6-1. I love this horse in this race. He's been training very well, so watch out for him. And now with the multi-race wager, I'm gonna play probably a few tickets for the multi-pick 4 wager. I'm gonna single West Coast. I'm gonna single West Coast probably with Highland Reel on a few tickets, and on an expensive ticket, I'm gonna go a few deep. I'm gonna use the 1-horse Arrogate also. Arrogate does not like Del Mar. He's 3 for 1 over it, but he's been training very well this weekend, the last few weeks since the Pacific Classic. But his last few since coming back from Dubai have been horrible. He finished second in the Pacific Classic a few weeks ago by a half length behind Collected. Wide post draw. He just never looked like himself. He didn't concentrate on the race. It just wasn't his day to win. He was just empty. He showed up empty before in the San Diego, the prep race for the Pacific Classic. Finished 4th by 15 1/4 lengths. He just had nothing. But before then, the best career run ever, probably the best race horses ever run in the Dubai World Cup on the mud at Meydan, a mile and a quarter in late March. This horse won by 2 1/4 lengths, missed the start, got bumped, was way out of it. You thought going under the finish line for the first time, this horse, it was game over. Bob Baffert thought this horse is he was on the plane ride home already because he didn't know this horse was going to win. But down the backstretch, Mike Smith, veteran jockey, recomposed himself. And then this horse had a great move at the top of the stretch, took over a gun runner who was setting the pace, and just ran away with it very easy. If you take out the start, you would have thought this horse, he just ran a great race. But if you put in the start with the rest of the race, this horse ran an incredibly great race. It was one of the best races I've ever seen in my lifetime. Before then, the Pegasus World Cup at Goldstrom, this horse won by 4 3/4 lengths, speed favoring Racetrack, speed from the rail. He just won for fun, very easy race, and then won this race last year by half length after sitting back early. It just depends which horse is going to show up. If the good horse Arrogate shows up today, he'll probably win for fun. But if the one that shows up for like the last few times, you have to see what happens. But this is Arrogate's last start, by the way, so just keep that in mind. But he'll be used on my expensive pick 4 ticket. Another horse I have on that ticket, the 7 horse Churchill. He's a weird horse at 15-1. Both Ian O'Brien horses I'm going to be using on my pick 4 ticket in this race. His dad Galileo ran in the 2001 Breeders' Cup Classic at Belmont Park with the year Tisnao won against Swain or Saki, something like that. Can't remember the horse, the Frankie Torrey Godolphin horse, but Galileo was in that race and just never fired. Was way out of it. Didn't really handle the dirt. Ian O'Brien wants to win this race. This might be one of his best chances to win it. I said about a year ago, you'll never see Churchill in the United States. He's just too good of a horse. He's too good of a horse. He destroyed the milers in Europe, and the mile and a quarter for this horse is perfect. Now, if he could do it on dirt, he can run a big one. But most recently, a few weeks ago in QE2 at Ascot, he finished third by 1.5 lengths. He just sat off the pace early on. He quickened up a little bit that day, but Richester and Persuasive just ran a little bit better than him. But it wasn't a half bad run. Before then, the Irish champions, he finished 7th by 13 3/4 lengths. That was a very wet ground. Don't think he really liked the ground that day. He just did not. He just had nothing. He didn't quicken up at all. And the Jedmont International going a mile and a quarter before that, he finished second by 2 lengths. He quickened up nicely, but Ulysses just got in front of him that day. But it wasn't a half bad run. And then the St. James House at Royal Ascot, he finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths. That was very firm ground. A very hot day also. He just did not show anything. It just wasn't his day to win. He should have did a lot better. But before that, won the Irish 2000 Guineas, won the 2000 Guineas at Newmarket, won the Dewhurst, won the Vincent O'Brien National Stakes. He won everything before that. But his races since then have been very tough. He's run some good races since then. That York race is very nice. I think if he handles the dirt, if he has a good trip, I think you could see this horse at the end across the line first. So he'll be used on the pick 4 tickets for me. Again, the 5 horse Gun Runner. He scares me a lot here in this race also. But he can ride Kango a mile and a quarter, but he's been facing really very light horses his last few starts in the Woodward. Only field of 5 horses. He was the only speed horse that day. He won for fun. He won for fun in the Whitney, and then in the Stephen Foster again he won for fun. But those were lesser quality. Those were grade 3 quality horses. This is a very tough classic this year. A lot of tougher horses in it, and he's going to face the biggest challenge of the year. And with a lot of pace in this one, I just think he's not going to be able to keep up with him. I think he's a weekend out of it, so he's not going to be a big use for me. Another horse at 30-1, War Decree, another Ian O'Brien horse. He's bred to go on dirt. At this odds for Shamie Hefferman up, I think he can run a big one. He ran most recently in Ireland at Dundalk, mile and a quarter in the Coffey Diamond Stakes. He won by 2 1/4 lengths. Again, it was a soft field. He quickened up nicely. Just had a very easy victory at the end. First start off the layoff also, which came in the Prix du Jockey Club, basically the French Derby. This horse finished 5th by 2.5 lengths. He didn't have the best of starts that day. Had a traffic trouble, closed up a little bit at the end, but it was the traffic that day that got to him. And then the Craven Stakes at the Craven meeting at Newmarket, 1 mile, April 20th. Horse finished 6 by 6 3/4 lengths. You know, he just really couldn't get the good close and kick off the layoff, but he's bred to go on dirt. With the war front, he should definitely get the distance. You know, if he saves some ground, doesn't get a lot of dirt in his face, and he takes to the dirt, that's the big thing. I think he could run a big one here at 30-1 also. So watch out for this one. And with the Aidan O'Brien Colmore horses, when you have multiple of them in a race, you have to figure out which one is he screwing around with, which one does he want the bettors to go to, so the other one he can get better odds to and win. I think this might be the kind of race he wants everybody to see. Churchill, Aidan O'Brien, bet that horse, and this horse goes up to like 50-1, and he wins it with this one, which Aidan O'Brien does a lot. If you ever follow the UK races, he did it this year with the English Derby. But I think Watercree at this odds of 30-1 cannot be thrown out. I think he can run a very big one. So to recap my bets now, for the 12th from Del Mar, it's the 34th running of the Grade 1 $6 million Breeders' Cup Classic. My top pick here, my best bet's going to go to the 8-horse West Coast. I'm going to go 8-1-7-5 in the superfecta. I'm going to go in the multi-race pick 4 wager. On a cheap ticket, I'm going to single West Coast, and my expensive ticket, I'm going to go 8-1-7-2 on the expensive pick 4 ticket. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5, and join me next weekend for my next Tuesday, for my Melbourne Cup preview video. Good luck everybody, and please subscribe.